Red Bull's Max Verstappen proved last weekend that he's only got eyes for racing, with the Dutchman winning the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix in F1 and the Nürburgring 24-hour race online. The Dutchman was up late following Imola qualifying, competing for his Team Redline in the iRacing endurance event, with his stints allegedly totaling 6 hours, helping the squad to come out on top. Williams' Alex Albon heads to Monaco keen to put his Imola DNF behind him, having endured a botched pit stop on lap 8 that saw him leave the pits with a loose front right wheel. Albon's crew attempted to retighten the wheel at his stop, but the Brit left the box before the squad could correct the error. The 28-year-old, though, returned to the pits rather than pull off the track, as he did not think that the wheel would work loose. But while Albon was given a 10-second stop-go penalty for the unsafe release due to Article 34.14d of F1 sporting regulations, the stewards stopped short of further sanctions for driving back to the pits. With the statement reading, the stewards agreed that this was accomplished in a safe and appropriate manner without affecting any other competitor, and that the driver did not drive the car knowing it to be in an unsafe condition. Staying with Williams, which at least enjoyed a boost ahead of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, with news Alex Albon had committed his future to the squad with a long-term deal that will take him into F1's new era. Albon was one of the major players in the F1 driver market, with alleged interest from his former team Red Bull, where he drove from mid-2019 to the end of 2020. But the Anglo-Thai driver said he believes in Williams' journey, especially since James Vowles joined as team boss.
I feel like the foundations of this team have improved so much, and we are forever evolving that. And I feel like there's clearly so much room now for us to grow, where I didn't feel necessarily that was the case when I first joined.
Albon, who was allegedly already locked in for 2025, will remain at Grove into 2026 and beyond. He's one of 9 drivers confirmed for next season, though his teammate will likely change. Mercedes was in the spotlight ahead of Imola, with driver George Russell winning this year's Lorenzo Bandini Trophy Award for his achievements in F1 during the 2023 season. To accept the prestigious award, created in 1992 to honor Bandini, who tragically died at the 1967 Monaco Grand Prix, Russell drove through the streets of medieval Italian village Brisighella. The 26-year-old began his journey in nearby Faenza, home to RB, where he was strapped into Mercedes' 1924 Targa Florio winning car, which had recently been restored by the Marque's Heritage Division to celebrate the centenary of the landmark victory. Russell was given the award, which is a ceramic replica of Bandini's car, the Ferrari 31267, at a special dinner that night.
It's an honor to receive the Bandini Award this evening. So many great drivers have picked up that award over the years and gone on to win world championships in years to come, so hoping to replicate that.
Russell, the first Silver Arrows driver to lift the award since Valtteri Bottas in 2018, was also quite taken with the century-old Mercedes.
Taking into consideration it's 100 years old, it drove so nicely. I could feel the brakes. I was using the handbrake here on the side. Because of how tall I am, it was a bit difficult to reach the brake pedal. And then when I took some speed around one of the left-hand corners, it was actually handling really nicely.
McLaren race engineer Will Joseph says his driver Lando Norris is limited by the car's potential, not his mind, ruling out any talk of being unleashed following his maiden win in Miami. Norris won in Miami on his 110th start, F1's equal 8th longest wait. But while the press was keen to state that a new Lando had arrived, Joseph told the sports official podcast F1 Nation that he's not so sure it's all just about understanding how to finish first.
Potentially, some of the unnecessary pressure does subside, but ultimately, you drive to the to the performance of the car, and as long as you're maximising that performance at every single event, then if we can deliver a car that can still outperform the others, then that is when those wins and the more wins will come.
Sky Sports commentator Martin Brundle says he'd be amazed if his friend, design guru Adrian Newey doesn't return to F1, mirroring the Brit's recent comments that he will probably go again. Newey, F1's greatest designer, is on every team's shopping list, despite his alleged intentions of a break in 2025 from career-long pressure. But Brundle, in an interview with the sports official podcast Beyond the Grid, says that Newey is a competitive person and sees some kind of team affiliation as the ultimate twilight compromise.
Well, I think he's a competitive animal. He's a friend of mine, and Adrian's a man of great principle. But I think he'll get a little bit bored, yeah. So I think when you think Rory Byrne still has a contract with Ferrari at 80 years old, based in Thailand or somewhere.
Sir Lewis Hamilton has blamed his Mercedes W15's lack of grip on Pirelli's 2024 spec tyres, which he says have a minuscule window of tyre temps. Mercedes technical director James Allison has already admitted that the drivers are being held back from better results by their recalcitrant W15s, which he says is a consequence of the car being too tricky. But while the squad says it's got a clear direction for setup changes that are needed to calm its car and better assess effectiveness of its ongoing upgrades, Hamilton has other ideas. "I think it's this tyre," he said. "Definitely in all my career, I don't remember ever having such a small window of working." Alpine reserve Jack Doohan upped his F1 mileage ahead of the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix, with the 21-year-old behind the wheel of the team's 2022 car across a two-day test at Dutch track Zandvoort. Doohan, the son of five-time 500cc world motorcycle champion Mick, is seen by Alpine as a potential race driver from 2025, should either Pierre Gasly or Esteban Ocon defect. The Australian was in action on Tuesday and Wednesday last week as part of his second test for 2024 after Barcelona in February. F1 CEO Stefano Domenicali says that the sport could return to the days of its louder engines, free from hybrid elements, but not before the next regulation cycle in 2030. F1 turned its back on naturally aspirated V8 engines at the end of 2013, with 1.6-litre turbo hybrid V6s brought in from 2014. But while 2026 will see the sport introduce new power units with higher revving engines, more electrical power, the use of sustainable fuels, and no NGU-H that uses waste heat from the turbo, F1 is already looking ahead to 2030, with Domenicali open to a more crowd-pleasing solution that is lighter and louder. "It is a personal consideration of mine, not yet shared with the teams, even if we have spoken about it with the FIA, that if sustainable fuels work, we will need to carefully evaluate whether to continue with hybrid or whether better solutions will be available," he said. McLaren development driver Gabriel Bortoleto wants the good times to keep rolling in Monaco this weekend, with the Brazilian on the hunt for another F2 podium after being runner-up in Imola's feature. The F2 rookie currently sits fifth in the standings with 38 points, having endured reliability issues and a collision during Melbourne's sprint race. But the 19-year-old enjoyed a head start at Monaco, driving compatriot Ayrton Senna's South American title-winning go-kart in the career parade at the recent historic Grand Prix, where Senna was honored on the 30th anniversary of his passing.
Yeah, it's the first time I actually come to Monaco Historic. I've raced here already 3 times, but never to this event. But I want to come back every single year after this one, to be honest, watching all these cars, understanding a little bit more about the history of my love sports.
In other McLaren news, the squad signed F3's Alex Dunn and Martinius Stenshorn to its development program. but the latter has been banned from racing at the upcoming Silverstone round after he raced there in the GB3 Championship without the FIA's permission. Thanks for watching. To stay up to speed on all things Formula One, make sure you hit the subscribe button.